You hear the word narcissist thrown around all the time, right? But what does it really mean? Like from a clinical perspective? Well, that's what we're digging into today, narcissistic personality disorder. Think about it. We all know that person, don't we? The one who loves being the center of attention, maybe brags a little, too much. But where do you draw the line? When does it go from just, having some narcissistic traits to being an actual diagnosable personality disorder? Is it really just being self-obsessed, or is there something way more complicated going on under the hood? Okay, so let's get on the same page. The official clinical definition of narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD for short, really boils down to three main things. First, an over-the-top sense of self-importance. Second, this deep, constant need for admiration. And third, a real lack of empathy for other people. Seriously, these three things are the bedrock of everything else we're going to talk about. All right, to really understand this, you've got to look at the face that someone with NPD shows the world. The best way to think about it, it's like a mask, a really well-made mask of absolute, unshakable confidence. So what does this public face look like? Well, this is what you see on the outside. It's someone who seems bigger than life. They expect everyone to praise them. They think they deserve special treatment. And honestly, they just seem to float through life like other people's feelings don't even register. So you might be thinking, how is this different from someone who's just really arrogant? And that's a great question. Well, for mental health pros, it all comes down to a very specific checklist, a set of diagnostic criteria. And to make this whole thing a lot easier to remember, there's actually a pretty clever acronym that covers the 9 key signs. It's Special Me. Kind of memorable, right? Let's break down what that actually means. Okay, so SPICAL. S is for that huge sense of self-importance. P is for being preoccupied with fantasies of like unlimited power, success, you name it. E is for entitled, expecting the red carpet treatment everywhere they go. C is for can only be around other special or important people. I is for being interpersonally exploitative, basically using people to get what they want. A is for arrogant, and finally L is for a total lack of empathy. And to finish it off, you've got M. M stands for must be admired. Like it's a constant need. And E is for envy. They're either envious of others or they're convinced everyone is envious of them. Now here's the really important part. A professional isn't just looking for 1 or 2 of these. They're looking for a consistent, long-term pattern of at least 5 of these 9 traits before a diagnosis is even considered. Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. This is the central paradox of NPD. Remember that mask of confidence we were talking about? Well, it turns out it's hiding something that's actually, believe it or not, super fragile. This just leaves it all out, doesn't it? What you see on the outside is all this excessive pride, this belief that they're better than everyone, this demand for admiration. But what's going on inside? Totally different story. We're talking a deep lack of self-confidence, a paralyzing fear of failure, hidden feelings of shame, and they get hurt by criticism so easily. So what happens when that fragile ego gets poked? The reaction can be, wow, intense. This quote really nails it. When they're faced with criticism, even if it's just perceived criticism, they might react with pure rage or contempt. And they'll try to tear other people down, to make themselves feel big again. It's a defense mechanism, pure and simple. So the obvious question here is why? Why does this happen? Where does something like NPD even come from? Well, let's get into the pretty complex mix of things that scientists think play a role. Right off the bat, you should know there's no single easy answer here. It's not like one thing causes NPD. Researchers are pretty sure it's a messy combination of a person's environment, their genetics, and even their brain biology. So this breaks it down into those 3 main buckets. First up is environment. This often looks at childhood dynamics, like a parent-child relationship where there's either way too much adoration or, on the flip side, super harsh criticism. Then you have genetics. Some personality traits just seem to be inherited. And lastly, neurobiology, which is all about how the brain is wired and how that connects to thoughts and behavior. And look, because NPD can cause so much chaos and pain in someone's life, and for those around them, it's absolutely crucial to talk about what can be done. Let's look at the paths to healing. And you can really see why treatment is so important when you look at the fallout. We're talking major relationship problems, huge issues at work or school, and very often it comes with a whole host of other serious stuff, like depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and sadly, even suicidal thoughts or actions. Which brings us to the biggest question of all, right?
The one that really matters if you or someone you love is dealing with this. Can a person with NPD actually be cured? Is real change possible?
The first roadblock is a massive one. It's incredibly hard for someone with NPD to even ask for help. I mean, the disorder itself makes it almost impossible to admit that something might be wrong with them. Usually, if they end up in therapy, it's for something else, like depression, not because they think they have NPD. But here's the good news. Yes, change is possible. The main treatment is talk therapy, also called psychotherapy, over a long period of time. Things like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, can be really effective. And the real goal of therapy isn't just to stop the bad behaviors. It's to help the person build up a real, genuine sense of self-worth from the inside out. That way, they don't need to constantly demand it from everyone else. It takes a ton of time and commitment for sure, but there is absolutely hope. So, while we don't have a guaranteed way to prevent NPD, we do know that focusing on healthy development in kids is huge. This means creating a really supportive environment. Getting help for any childhood mental health stuff early on, attending family therapy to learn how to communicate in a healthy way, and giving parents the support and skills they need to raise kids who are both resilient and empathetic. So, we'll leave you with this to think about. It's so easy to just label people, but getting past that armchair diagnosis takes real empathy. The true challenge for all of us is to see the line between healthy, normal confidence and that deep, hidden fragility that's really a cry for help. So, what does that line look like to you?